Good morning, everyone. So I thought for today's technique video, we could talk about cleaning beads. Now, in my mind, there's two ways to clean beads. There's the hard way and there's the easy way. So this would be the hard way. This is called a bead reamer. And you use it, it's got a little kind of drilled edge here that's really rough. And you stick it in your beads and you clean your beads out by hand. Now, this little guy is great if you want to really activate your arthritis flare, maybe get some carpal tunnel pain going. Also, it's not as easy as it looks. It takes a long time to get all that bead release out by hand. So, I don't know why I got this. I don't know where it came from, but I never use it. This, on the other hand, is the tool that I use. It's a Dremel. The Dremel 7700, and I'm going to show you how I use this to clean my beads. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start kind of with the last step first. This is my bowl that I use to put my beads in and to soak them. And as you can see from yesterday, I have some leftover sediment in the bottom of my little bucket here. You don't want to throw this down the drain. This stuff will kind of act like concrete, and if you get a lot of it in your plumbing pipes, it's going to plug up your pipes. It's going to mess up your plumbing. So try when we're cleaning these beads, we're going to try to keep all of our bead release in this little bucket, and then the next day you can throw it out on the dirt somewhere outside, rinse out your bucket, get it nice and clean. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, my beads are in some very hot water. For some reason, hot water really helps to break up the bead release and soften the bead release. And they come off the mandrels easier when you soak them in really hot water. So I got a clean bowl. I threw my mandrels in. I'm going to let those beads soak. I don't know, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever you feel. Usually the bigger the bead, the longer I let them soak in the hot water. So yeah, let me talk about the Dremel tool and then we'll come back and we'll deal with these beads. So this is my Dremel. And one thing I want to point out to you guys is that this is a cordless Dremel. These are also called rotary tools. Dremel is the brand name, but if you look on Amazon, there's all kinds of different brands, and they're called rotary tools or handheld rotary tools. Very, very handy. I like the Dremel brand because if you run out of bits or you need one of these little collars, you can just run to Home Depot or Lowe's, and everybody carries the Dremel brand of tools. So you don't have to worry about if you get some like off-label brand that's not real popular and then you run to the store to get something and they don't have it. So I stick with Dremel. The other thing I want to note is this is cordless. It's got this battery, and the battery plugs into a charger. I usually use, I have two batteries. One's in the wall right now charging, and the other one I just stick in the back of my Dremel. Now, I don't know if I'm being too weird or not about this, but I have seen some people who have the long electric cord coming out the back of their Dremel. They're not battery operated, they're cord tools. And then I see them using these power tools with the electric cord in water. And that just gives me the wiggies because I think, as we all know, water and electricity doesn't go well together. So I always recommend get a cordless Dremel, either with the battery pack, or they're now making Dremels that are rechargeable, where you plug them in at night and they charge, and then you unplug them when you're using them. But I think I'm going to say, for safety's sake, go ahead and get a cordless Dremel so you don't die of electrocution while you're cleaning your beads. Okay, so what do we do with this Dremel? Well, this is the end, the working end. And what you get when you get these is they come with this little collar that comes off, it unscrews. And then you have your drill bit right here. And then you have this other little collar. I don't know if it's going to come out. Maybe I'll just show it to you this way. You have this other little collar that kind of attaches everything to the Dremel. Oh, sorry, you can't see it very well. But actually, I have one right here. This little guy. And these little guys come in different diameters depending on the type of drill bit that you're using. So when you first get it, you'll get these three are probably the most important parts along with the battery. And you're going to want to assemble it. Just stick your bit in there and then put the little collar on it and screw it down. Now, to keep everything in the front from rotating, you have to press this little button. And then you can screw down that collar really tight. And when I get to the point where it's too tight for me to hand turn, I have some pliers that I just tighten it down really tight. And there you go. The bit that I'm using, it's a 3/32 diamond coated grinding bit, I guess. But this is for the 3/32 mandrel, and these seem to work out really well. You can buy all kinds of tips. These ones I got for when I'm making the 1/16, and you can see that this one has a really, really skinny tippy edge. There you go. Kind of can see it. So this is like a pinpoint diamond edge. You can get them that are tapered. I would say just go ahead, go to Home Depot, look around, see what they got, see what you want. And then go ahead and get your diamond coated. I don't know if diamond coated is an absolute necessity, but again, and I don't know if they sell them like any other way. So I get what's on the shelf, and that's what I've been using forever, and I love it. Now, once you get all of this attached, this Dremel does have two speeds. It has a low speed, which I never use, and it has a high speed for more power. So I always use the high speed. It goes really fast. I love it. I love power. So let me go and show you how we get these beads off the mandrels and start cleaning. Alrighty, step one. Got to get these suckers off the mandrel. Now, I wear rubber gloves when I'm removing my beads from my mandrel because the rubber just helps you hold on to the wet mandrel a lot easier. So I always wear rubber gloves. Now to do this, I also have a pair of pliers here. And you're going to want to come around. I hold the mandrel with the pliers pretty tight. And then the first step is to twist your bead. And that breaks, it like breaks the seal on the bead release. And then your beads can come off pretty easy. I try not to bend the mandrel as I'm pulling the bead off. And as you can see, a lot of bead release is in my hand when I pull the bead off. So I'm just going to rinse it in the water. I will also go ahead and use my rubber glove to kind of squeegee that mandrel a couple of times and to clean it. Because I like starting with a clean mandrel when I go to dip them. I don't want any residual bead release on my mandrel because that might crack when you go to make your next bead. So grasp it with the little claws here, give it a little twist, and pull her off in your hand. And just dip and squeegee. And I just dropped the beads in the bottom of the bowl because they're going to soak some more to get that bead release loosened up on the inside of the bead. So I do this every morning. It's like a ritual where I start my day, I turn on my kiln, and let that heat up. And while that's heating up, I usually clean my beads. And I have anywhere from like 10 to a dozen beads a day that I make. So here we go, pulling them off. Oh, this guy's so cute. I'm getting ready for Halloween. The first Halloween beads are coming out. That's what we do in September. We start our Halloween beads. Okay, here we go. Rinsing those guys off. Okay, and one more to go. It's probably the last bead's going to be the hardest to get off. All right, so there we go. Now they're going to soak. So to clean my beads, and let me see if I can adjust the angle on this so you can see. Can you see my spout? Oh, kind of. Okay, good enough. You'll see the water coming out. When I clean my beads, I do it under running water. And I know you guys are going, but you just said don't get the bead release in the sink. Well, there's not that much in here anymore. So I think if you go ahead and just do a light rinse, they'll be fine. I go ahead and take my mandrel and I kind of hunker down a bit and turn it on and then stick it in the hole. Oops, and then it gets stuck. Okay, this happens a lot to me. And the reason it happens a lot is because if you look at this tip, oh, I wish I could zoom in and show you guys. It's got a little bump here at the back end. So that's probably bigger than 3/32, where the front end is the 3/32. So if you push your bead in too far, it's going to get stuck on the base of that drill bit. So try not to do that. But you know, I'm excited. I'm trying to do this and talk and video all at the same time. And now my battery's dead because I didn't put the new one on. So I'll be right back. Okay, I think I got my act together. All right, so here we go. We're going to put this Dremel Dip Bit into my bead. And I just kind of go around, clean it out a bit, and then I flip it over and get the other half. And this is actually a great demo bead, because what I want to show you is, you can see how on this side of the bead, it's nice, the edges are puckered at that hole. It's nice and smooth. This side, not so much. There's like some sharp edges there. You can see right about there. Now, when I look at my beads while I'm cleaning them, I am not adverse to grinding those sharp edges off. And the way you do that is you just angle your Dremel bit along the edge at an angle, and what you're doing is you're just kind of grinding a little bevel, a rounded bevel into that bead. And when you get done doing that, you can always just kind of touch it and feel there's no sharp edges. So I know the best way to deal with these sharp edges on your bead, the first way you want to do it is to just have a really good wrap when you first put that glass on that mandrel under the torch. That first wrap is so important. But we don't always do that every single time. These are handmade. Sometimes we just don't think about it. And so sometimes you end up with a sharper edge where your mandrel was. And so if that happens, you can fix it with your Dremel. Just go ahead and grind a little bevel around the edge of the bead and you'll be fine. Okay, I want to say a little bit more about the whole bead getting stuck issue. And the whole reason that your bead gets stuck is because on this Dremel tip, you can see this taper. It's fatter at the back end than it is at this end. And so sometimes when you're cleaning your bead, that bead will get stuck down there on that taper. And it drives me crazy. So the way that I've solved this is, number one, you could use a thinner drill bit instead of a 3/32, maybe the 1/16 pin bit, but then that takes longer to clean them. So what I do instead is I just double dip my mandrels. This has got 2 layers of bead release on it, as opposed to this one that only has 1 layer of bead release on it. So I double dip my mandrels just so that they don't get stuck on the Dremel tool. There's probably other easier ways that you could do it, but for me, double dipping, I don't mind doing it. I'm making these for little kids, big holes for little fingers, so that works out well for me. The other thing that you guys want to keep in mind is your bead diameter. So I never make a bead that is longer than the length of 2 of these, right? 2 of these. Because what happens is you want to make sure that you can clean the entire inside of your bead, like that. Now, if I was only going to use this top portion to clean, then my bead, this would probably be the max. That's like one side of the bead is that diameter, and then the other side. So when you're designing your beads, think about being able to clean them. You want to be able to get in the middle of that bead. So for me, because I double dip, I can clean the entire length of the bead. So I could actually stack up another bead on top of this, and that would be the maximum length of any bead that I make. I want to make sure that that Dremel tip is going to fit the entire length of my bead on each side. Okay, that's all I have to say on that. And yeah, let's move on. Okay, let's do another one. Here's my little mummy guy, my mummy dude. Stick him under the running water, turn on the Dremel, and come in there. A little bit on the sharp edges, so I'm just going to grind down a little bevel. And I'm keeping a really close eye on how far I insert that Dremel tool to make sure that I don't get it stuck. And that looks good. Okay, you guys, I've got something like a dozen more beads to clean, but there's really not much to it. Go ahead and clean your beads. Get yourself a nice Dremel tool. These things, there are some pieces of equipment that are just worth the price. I think I paid $100 for this, but I got like this huge kit that came with all kinds of different little tips and grinding wheels. So I probably got more than I need. But these rotary tools are worth their weight in gold. You will spend so much less time in front of the sink trying to clean your beads. You'll be able to clean them really fast and clean them really well. So definitely recommend the Dremel. Go ahead, see what you think. And I hope to be back on Friday with the first of our Halloween beads. Have a great day, you guys. Bye.